Good morning, everybody, or is this good afternoon? I'm pleased to see we've got so many people attending. This is amazing. Thank you. I am very happy to welcome you to the first annual Excellence in Business Transformation Awards. This is a new emerging direction for the WFMC. First, I also want to welcome Keith Swainson, WFMC Chair, who's also VP of R&D at Fujitsu America. Keith will be doing most of the presenting of the awards. Let me just give you some background quickly, though, on why we went into business transformation. Next slide. As you can see, and as you know, if you entered the awards, earlier this year, we decided to bring under one umbrella all the existing award programs. For those who've been following us for a year, we started out in 1996 with document management, workflow, but WFMC has played a pivotal role in developing awareness and growth in BPM and then ACM spaces, and now we're focusing on business transformation. And the goal has always been to encourage best practices that help companies learn, reach out, and maintain their competitive edge within the respective industries. And everybody learns from everybody else's efforts. So it's a remarkable program to be part of, and I congratulate not just those who win, but everybody who enters and everybody who reads the book and develops their own awareness about the processes that drive business these days. And with that said, I'm now handing it over to Keith, who will introduce the awards panel, the Deepest panel.
Thank you, Lena. That's a great introduction to it, and it's really interesting step that we've taken this year, taking it from the separate BPM and ACM awards, bringing it together into business transformation, and that follows what we're seeing in the industry, as we'll see in a moment. But let's go to the next slide. I want to recognize our panel of judges. These people have been with us for many years, and this is a volunteer task. They give their time to do this, and they are really among the experts in the world on ACM, BPM, and business transformation. And that's what makes the entire program run. So let's jump to the next slide. If we look at the industry, we see several trends very clearly, and we're seeing this in the awards as well as just in the industry at large. First of all, robotic process automation, something that Nathaniel Palmer was talking about years ago, and he was saying this is going to be here someday. Well, this year was the year that it suddenly became very well known and used just about everywhere. It solves a very important problem, how to interface to a solution that doesn't have a nice API, but it does have a UI. We can just jump in there and either receive information or send information to these applications, legacy applications of any type. Very important trend. Second trend, we're seeing decisions separate from process. So these, we've called them business rules in the past, but now what we're doing is we're modeling them separate from the process. And once they're separate from the process, you know how nobody has any patience anymore, and it's all wanting everything now. Well, why not just make that decision immediately available in the user interface? And we're certainly seeing a big move in that direction. Analytics is not by itself new. We've been tracking analytics for 15 years, but it's worth mentioning here that it's really become very, very mainstream, very much every day. It's readily used. We see lots of companies of all sizes, small ones, large ones, using analytics to help make their decisions on how to improve their business. And machine learning. Now, this is still new. It's still experimental, but it's available now to everyone, and people are starting to experiment with using machine learning in their process logs, in their history files, in order to detect trends that they probably wouldn't see on their own. And then when it comes to adaptive case management, we're clearly seeing that all the BPM products now offer some capability here, and it's had an interesting effect on the processes. Instead of very, very elaborate processes with all of the possible routes, mapped out, we're seeing relatively simpler processes, which are then composed by knowledge workers at runtime. So those trends, there's another trend that's often mentioned, and that is low code, no code. And that's very important. I mean, we do want to remove the programming from these systems. We'd like, no offense to any of the programmers out there, but we really would like to get rid of programming altogether. But take this trend with a grain of salt, because every time we see some ability to simplify programming, we're seeing we start moving into new terrains like RPA, where we're now programming things we didn't program before. And programming with pictures is still programming. So while that trend to low code is very important and very useful, don't fool yourself into thinking programming is going away. We still need to rely on strong programming capability to do this. Let's jump to the next slide. So here we see similar trends coming from the awards themselves. Now we have 12 winners today, and they break out this way. There's 4 which look like BPM cases, sort of fairly traditional workflow applications. We have 3 case management cases, which has to do with tracking, job tracking, and flexibility. And then 3 digital transformation cases, places where people are trying to rethink how they interact with their partners and their customers. We included a pure RPA case because it's notable because of the importance of RPA, and also a pure rules case. Actually, that case goes back also almost about 10 years, but again, we're now seeing rules standing on their own, and that's a really good example of that. We're seeing among the winning cases, BPM is getting more routine, and what I mean by that is 2 things. First of all, people are more used to it, so it's no longer exotic. But the other thing is that, again, instead of making very, very elaborate processes, people are starting to keep it sort of simple processes, keep it straightforward, simple processes, and let the knowledge worker compose them. The next point talks about the usage of standards in the actual use cases themselves to explain the diagrams. And it's something that I've talked about for several years, and I find it kind of surprising. People are using flowcharts, they're using Gantt charts, they're using Kanban. BPMN and these standards are still somehow lacking in explanatory power. And so we're still struggling with that. I think that remains a problem that needs to be solved. There's no question that having a diagram of the process helps to explain the process to people, and one of the use cases went on for several paragraphs talking about how useful it was to have these diagrams, particularly for legacy usage when you're going to maintain it later and nobody remembers what the process was. The diagram can be very helpful, but it still remains a case of study of how to represent those correctly. And also we saw case management cases, but there was always some strong process component to it. And so we're seeing those case management and BPM working together, which is why we brought the awards together after all. So let's go to the next slide. Next slide is about the finalists. We had, again, a greater response than we've had in the past. Looking through all the cases, I get the pleasure to read all of them, and really very high quality cases. So I think I wished I could have picked more, but we did pick what we could, and it's great to be part of this program, as Lena said. So on to the winners. Go to the next slide. So the first recipient is the California Resources Corporation. This is something I would describe as straightforward BPM. They call it workflow. They have a large business. They're the largest oil and gas producer in the state of California. They have lots of things going on, and they really just needed to automate their ordering of parts, the processing of orders. They had things like they eliminated their out-of-catalog orders. There used to be special custom orders that were done, and by automating it, they were able to eliminate that. And that was a large part of where they got their 20% savings on costs and on inventory. I liked in all of the use cases, they talk about the things that really helped them. did well, and things to watch out for. And they said uh, to watch out for politics, to basically get the right people on board up front was really, really useful to them. And also on the pitfalls, be very careful about the requirements because they found some late changes, ended up costing them something. So again, all of these use cases, there's lots of detail on how they did it and the trouble they ran into. It's really very, very helpful. So congratulations to the California Resources Corporation and Process Maker who nominated them. The next slide is about the city of Fort Worth, and this was nominated by BP Logics. This is, a great case study. It goes into a lot of detail on where the savings, how much they saved in different situations. What Fort Worth wanted to do, quite simply, was to become the most livable and best managed city in the country, and really try to solve the problems. And what they implemented, at least first, a large part of what they did was this forms portal, citizen forms portal, making these forms available to people. It went live. They increased the usage of forms by 30%. They estimate the savings at $130,000. We're seeing that there's also an intangible benefit here, which is hard to measure. By making the city more accessible to the citizen, there's going to be people who are happier about that. And it's hard to measure that in dollar terms, but basically being able to take care of your problems is what a city wants to do. So congratulations to the city of Fort Worth and to BP Logics. The third example is FiberCorp Brazil, and this was put up there by Telecom Argentina. It is a software as a service application, and the scale of what they did is really pretty impressive. Now they use a number of different technologies. They use Bizaji and they used Oracle and Blue Prism. They're using RPA as part of this. So again, probably I think the most illustrative use case of all the BPM use cases. They had a number. They automated 180 processes. They've got 20 technologies in there, so it's a big project. And they have some processes that went live in 7 to 9 weeks. So this is really, again, you can imagine the transformation that such technology has for this. And they were moving out of a situation where a lot of their data was in Excel spreadsheets. And it's also interesting, they go into process mining and they mined their processes to kick it off. So once again, congratulations to FiberCorp Brazil, Telecom Argentina, and all of the vendor suppliers that were part of that. The fourth winner is the SICOOB. I don't know if that's to be pronounced SICOOB or not, and nominated by LECOM. This is a Brazilian cooperative. They're a mutual credit organization based out of Sao Paulo, and they were in the situation that they needed to optimize the way they were handling it. They had 40 processes, and they were able to automate 16 of them in the first months by using BPMS. So again, this is another BPM case. They stressed using an agile approach. The use case talks a lot about agile, and their recommendation early on was to make sure that everybody knows how the BPM works. Do some good, thorough training up front, and that'll help your implementations all go better. So the next case is Discovery Benefits, nominated by Highland. So this is the first of what I would call the ACM cases. Can we go to the next slide? It's a case management case, okay? So it's about employee benefits. They've simplified employee benefits administrations so that they can focus on things that matter more importantly. They found that what they wanted to do was to resolve claims, get rid of bottlenecks, basically give a better experience to the customer. And they did this by setting up a content management system, a document management system. There's a very clear case management approach where content is king, and they ended up improving the speed to handle issues. Um, and they also measured their return on investment. They estimate that the cost of implementing the system was paid back to them within 8 months. And in my experience, that's not too unusual, where you've got some problem that needs to be solved like that. Highland is a case management platform, one of the notable ones in the industry. So a very good case management approach. Thanks to, or congratulations to Discovery Benefits and to Highland for this award. The next one is Home Healthcare Management, and this was nominated by iSight, another case management platform, and this is in the healthcare field. And so in healthcare, we often see case management because you have people that come in, their problems are unique. You need to have a knowledge worker in there able to access the information quickly and to be able to give the care or provide the care or to make the arrangements that need to be done. They decrease the incident resolution time from 2 weeks down to 72 hours, and you can imagine that makes a huge difference to the patients and to the customers to have that quick response. And they also estimate that they saved about $50,000 a year in wages, so they're able to do that with much more effective cost. The seventh case is the Vinitsa EMD Center. So this is an emergency service and major public safety agency in the Ukraine. They've got 1,700 people. They've got 250 doctors, 800 paramedics, 200 ambulances. I had to pause for a moment. One of the examples they used in the case was in September 2017, and I hadn't realized that this had gone on. They had a terrorist incident, and they evacuated 40,000 people in one night. Of those, 30 of them severely injured. These guys are doing, the real work, and this kind of emergency response was the kind of thing that case management really shines at. The ability to, in this case where they evacuated 40,000 people, they started by creating a new case type. They spent about an hour implementing a new case type, and then they used that all night long to facilitate the thing. So very, very agile. So this is probably my favorite case management case out of all of them. Very interesting reading. Again, congratulations to Vinitsa and to the nominator, Excentex. The eighth award goes to Aquaria, and that's nominated by Aura Portal. Aquaria is a dairy product company. They specialize in that, and this is about milk, and milk spoils if you don't take care of it. So the challenge that they have with any fresh food industry is that you have to stay on top of it. You need to be able to handle things quickly and effectively to avoid wasted and rejected milk. So they process 1.2 million liters of fresh milk every day. What they found is that they could automate a few things. They were spending a lot of time calculating time and money for transport and payments. This was all completely automated and really saved a lot of that. They were able to manage their inventory to reduce the amount that was hanging around, and certainly reduce the amount that spoiled. So again, a real world case of a real problem being solved by and this use case I put in the digital transformation case because of the way they approached it and the way that they transformed, the way that they were reaching directly out to the farmers and the transporters so that they could access the system directly and have those calculations automated for them. So congratulations to Alcaria and Aura Portal. The ninth case is IIC Technologies. This was nominated by Bonita Soft, again, one of the leaders in the BPM space. They had a lot of manual processes, complex workflows. They had spreadsheet information. And what they wanted to do is to transform this in order to greatly increased their efficiency. You'll find that they eased their, well, they claim ease the use of the distant business, doing more output, using less people. They've measured the efficiency increases and the traceability. So again, another good digital transformation use case. Congratulations to IIC Technologies and to Benitosov. The 10th award goes to Palma City Hall. This was in Brazil, nominated by Synax. This is the newest state capital in Brazil, almost 300,000 inhabitants, and they're trying to set up their process management and citizen service. So they did so. They automated over 300 processes. They estimate a savings of a lot of money. The currency, I'd jump into the currency there, but this is probably more important. They reduced the incidence of hitting deadlines by 80%, which means that they're handling things, and of course this has a big effect on the people that are using those services and getting that improvement. So congratulations to Palma City Hall and to Synax for their nomination of that. The next one is IBM Corporation. Of course, no big surprise to see them included, but we wanted to include this one specifically because it's a pure RPA, robotics process automation case. Now, several of the other cases used RPA as well, so I don't want to say this is the only RPA one, but this is a pure RPA one, and it goes into a lot of detail on how they implemented it. And this is also a case of a company drinking their own champagne. So they implemented this as an internal solution to their own global sales initiative. It's a very interesting read and able to see, I mean, for example, the creating of letters, which used to take 10 minutes, is now 18 seconds. And they estimate 70 minutes per sales manager, sales savings spread across lots and lots of sales managers. So very interesting use case as well. Congratulations. Oh, and one of their biggest recommendations, if you're trying to do this, is to definitely start small, see some benefit from that before you scale it out. So be, work in an agile method. So congratulations to IBM on their RPA initiative. Finally, the 12th case is Power Health, and this is nominated by PHS. And they are a health provider again, and they deal with a very large set of complicated rules. And they started by separating the business algorithm from the rules. So this is, again, the trend that we're seeing is modeling the rules completely separately. They've been working on this for about 10 years. They did model the rules in a graphical format, which is provided by the Idiom Decision Managers, the technology behind that. Again, there's a new graphical formalism called DMN, Decision Modeling Notation. So they didn't use decision modeling notation because basically much of this effort predates that. But it's the same sort of thing. It's a visual representation of the rules that are then accessible to everybody that needs to be involved in setting those rules and assuring that the rules are correct. So I think this case was very notable because it is a pure rules business case and worth investigating and reading, and worth awarding this award to them on that basis. So congratulations to Power Health and to PHS. So that's the summary of the awards. Here's a recount of them. I won't read them. I've just gone through them in detail. So I'm going to hand it back over to Lena for the next slide.
Thank you, Keith. That was extremely interesting. I like the way that you picked up the detail on many of the winners there that wasn't mentioned on the slide. We come now to the personality of the year. This is completely new in this program, and the steering committee realized that we recognize case studies and have done for many years, but we very seldom reach out and have never reached out formally to recognize the people involved, the people who make the things happen. And we started out with 5 main fields. The middle one, Mannheim, has been going for a very long time, since the early 2000s, I think, Keith.
Yes.
After Professor Mannheim, who passed away some years ago, and we made an award in his name. But the rest are new. The first couple are sponsored by BPM.com themselves for the best technology user. Not necessarily the best, but the one that we recognize as having made a significant contribution. And ditto for the technology provider. And then the WFMC Awards for the best team leader and the best consultant. So, Keith, I'm going to hand this back to you now to recognize the recipients.
Sure. Let's go to that first one. This is the BPM.com Award for a Business Transformation CEO. So this is a technology user. And this year the award goes to Brian C. Mulligan. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Mulligan Investment Bankers. He's held C-level positions of every media vertical for majors over 30 years career. Co-chair of Universal Pictures, CEO of Universal Television, chair of Fox Broadcasting, and the list goes on. He was also vice chairman of Media Telecom and the sixth largest bank. And he has been a supporter for business transformation for many, many years, and really, really deserves this recognition as a key technology user who's been inspiring people to use business transformation technology, BPM and ACM, over many years. So congratulations to Brian Mulligan. The next award is the BPM.com Award. This is for the Business Technology Provider CEO. And the award this year goes to Miguel Valdez-Fara. If you know anything about Bonitasoft, you know that for 20 years they've been really eating up the field with they provide a very solid BPM platform, low-code digital transformation solutions. They want to create applications with seamless, engaging, personalized user interface. And Miguel himself has been recognized as a thought leader in BPM for most of that time. He's a regular speaker at international conferences, and he also received the prestigious CEO World Award in 2014. So again, a lot of great work. One of the use cases was built on Bonitasoft, so you can read the use cases if you're interested. But this is a mover and shaker in the industry, providing leadership for the rest of us. So congratulations to Miguel Fara for this award. The next award is the Mannheim Award for Significant Contributions. This was actually awarded earlier this year to Nathaniel Palmer. Now, I don't know how much you might be familiar with Nathaniel Palmer. He's been a mover and shaker. He's been virtually running BPM.com. The ideas behind that, he came in to help shepherd the Workflow Management Coalition more than a decade ago. He's been really central to a lot of the work going on in this area. He runs conferences regularly. He is the founder of the BPM Next conference, which is the sort of a guru think tank for the industry. I've had the pleasure of working with him for about 15 years, and I'm really, really happy that he was awarded the Mannheim Award here, the WFMC's oldest award for personal contribution. Very well deserved to Nathaniel Palmer. The next one is the WFC Award for Outstanding Business Technology Team Leader. Now, Christine Robinson is a tour de force in this area. I'm always amazed by the number of different initiatives she's in. She's done a lot of work with the federal government, the federal enterprise architecture, and you can read the list there of it. She's been an architect and team leader, enterprise architect and business transformation agent. So we anyway, congratulations to Christine Robinson and for this award for business transformation team leader. Very well deserved. The fifth award is the WFMC Award for Outstanding Business Transformation Consultant, and that goes this year to Todd Palmer. And I'm certainly very, very pleased for Todd to receive this. I've worked with him personally for a number of years. He's a senior product engineer at Fujitsu on the DXP product team. He studied in Tampere, Finland, and he's got 20 years experience across a number of things. He is one of these rare individuals who understands the technology very well, but is also able to present it and make it understandable to everybody else. So he's worked with a number of customers, and he was recently selected as a Fujitsu Distinguished Engineer. So very, very good. And I should mention he's no relationship to Nathaniel Palmer. So I don't know if there's a trend for Palmers in the technology space, but nevertheless, both of them certainly deserve this award, and I'm really happy to award the Outstanding Business Transformation Consultant to Todd Palmer this year. So that's it. We've covered 12 use cases, all of them really good, and it's all about helping to share the understanding about how we can be successful in BPM and in ACM and now in business transformation. And also congratulations to all 5 of the Personality Award winners, also very well deserved. And it's good to see people like this getting